morning, everyone, from Jerusalem, and welcome to Fanning the Flame. From time to time, God puts something on my heart to share with you. Friend, if you have found my channel to be an encouragement to your life, I want to ask you to consider praying about becoming a monthly financial partner with the one and only Worship Dance Center in the nation of Israel with the professional wood-sprung floor, also known as a floating floor. It's made to be a shock absorber for your joints. And when you dance on non-dance floors, your body becomes the shock absorber and you're literally beating your body into the ground. And when you're a serious dancer and you're dancing almost every day, you really cannot afford to do that. Although I did for the first 11 years in this land, because there is no proper wood-sprung dance floor in any of the congregations in this land. And now the one that I have, the one that I've been called to steward, the Tabernacle of David Prophetic Dance Center, is the one and only. And so I am coming up on finishing 4 years here. It was prayed in for nearly 11 years. As those of you know, some of you were those partnering praying with me. I want to thank those all who are listening who have sown and helped continue this place to move forward. So I'm getting ready to sign the 5th year lease in January, God willing, but my rent for October and November are not as yet paid. And so from time to time, as the Lord puts it on my heart, I come to you and I say, well, hey, if my channel's been a blessing to you, would you consider praying about becoming a monthly financial partner with this one and only ministry in this land? I don't know anyone else that has my call because we are one of a kind. And that's why it's so important that each and every one of us is a faithful steward of our one-of-a-kind life. One-of-a-kind me, one-of-a-kind you, one-of-a-kind mold for each of us. So what I do here, I live here as well. I hold dance worship celebrations. I teach one-on-one sessions. I work with mainstream and special needs when that wonderful privilege comes my way. Absolutely, and it is a privilege. God has raised me up for such a time as this. I am strategically placed on his holy hill. And the vision that he placed in my heart in the summer of 2010, he said, you need to start praying in a proper wood-sprung floor. And when there is a proper wood-sprung floor strategically placed in the body of Messiah in Jerusalem, nations will come and they will dance on the head of injustice. There will be a shift in governments. They will dance people into healing, restoration, salvation, deliverance, and there will be a shaking from Jerusalem to the ends of the earth. So I moved in, going into my 5th year, and I said, okay, God, here I'm bringing my fish and my loaves. And I was so blessed because the first 11 years I had a traveling Tabernacle of David. I was raising up dance troops often because many of the dancers were tourists, and a tourist visa is just about 3 months. And working with people who have never danced in their life, who ended up dancing and presenting dance ministry at conference centers in front of thousands of people because God gave me faith for them. And what a thrill, really. Such a wonderful privileges God has given to me. I have led dance watches and taught creative moving prophetic dance watches and workshops throughout the land in various congregations, have led worship in different congregations, have shared my testimony, how I came to faith, what God is doing in my life. As you know, I have over 5,000 videos on my YouTube channel because my gift with the dance ministry is to encourage you to let you know you're not alone. Let's get on a healing path. Let's apprehend. I love that word. I apprehended this dance center. And if God had told me I would be waiting nearly 11 years to receive it, I would have fainted. I'm glad he did not tell me. I approached different places, different prayer houses, congregations, whatnot, when I felt the Lord was asking me to have my potential dance center there. No one said yes, because if you don't have the vision, you're not going to say yes. But God had this place for me. And it's amazing how it happened, because I lived, after 5 months of making Aliyah, I settled in Jerusalem, and I had a place I lived at for 11 years. It was a very humble abode. I felt very blessed. I would walk home after all those years and still say, wow, pinch me. I really did it. I really left America and came home to Israel. I feel so blessed because God is in my home. Oh, yes. Felt so blessed. Didn't complain. Didn't have air conditioning. Lived on the 3rd floor. No whinge, really. And the grace of God was with me. If one thing was out of place, the place looked like a mess, because it was very hard also to keep the place. It wasn't dirty, but it was untidy because it was so small, and I had been there for 11 years, but the grace of God was with me. And then he truly promoted me to this place. For the first 11 years, I didn't take a salary. My profession is 32 years now as a dance educator, but I didn't take a salary. I worked as a volunteer in so many places in this land. And when God gave me this gift through a friend from Austria, a young man about 33 years old at the time, his father passed away and he came into an inheritance. And God spoke to his heart and said, I want you to pay for Liora's dance floor. I was shocked. I was stunned. And I remember walking down the street talking to the Lord. And the Lord said to my spirit, why are you surprised? I am rewarding you. And I realized that's because I poured out for the 11 years taking no salary. But once I moved here, where I am, God said, you need to start. You need to start receiving payment for what you're doing. So I call it a donation, because what I receive is not what I can with the credentials that I have as a dance educator. Because I'm not here for the money, although we all need money. We all have to pay our rent and our food, our expenses, our property tax, our maintenance, all of those things. God is so good. So I beseech you, child of God, if the Lord should move your heart to come alongside the Tabernacle of David Prophetic Dance Center, the one and only worship dance center with the professional wood-sprung floor, to protect our joints, the longevity of this God-given instrument, so we can continue to dance and dance and dance until he takes us up. Oh, yes. I work with married couples, singles of all ages, men I've worked with in the late 80s, probably mid-90s. Yes, that's the gift he's given to me. Whatever gift God has placed in your heart, bring it forth, child of God. Many gifts. God's given us many gifts. And he gave me that word in 2011 in Jerusalem at the House of Peace. It is through the new sound, the new song, and the new dance I'm healing my people. And then he said, Liora, that's how you're partnering with me in your dance watches in the local prayer houses. It's a watch. It's like 2 hours long, and I'm there to steward that time in the way that the Lord has called. And I said, oh my goodness, forgive me, Lord. I forgot it was for healing's sake. I'm thinking praise and worship, Dayenu. It would have been enough, we say, at Passover. But it's dance. Worship is healing. It brings healing, restoration. It's prayer, and it's deep intercession. And I just want to close on this note. When the war started a year ago plus, the Lord had me in the first weeks putting white on, my white ministry clothes, dressing really as a bride, his bride. And where I am strategically placed, as I would dance, I would intercess in my sorrow, in my grief, in mourning. And the Lord would speak into my spirit while I was dancing. I couldn't believe the things he was showing me. And I felt so privileged to be intercessing through the dance on his holy hill. If I didn't realize how privileged I was before that moment, I certainly was reminded. And so I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I am in the center of God's will, doing exactly what he's called me to be. And once again, I thank you for those who are already partners with the Tabernacle of David Prophetic Dance Center. And I just beseech you, child of God, if you have not as yet sown in, and if you feel the Lord is leading you that way, I would welcome your help. I'm about to sign the 5th-year lease, and so it's imperative that I pay my October and November rent so that I have the wonderful privilege of signing that 5th-year lease so that we can continue here. I want to see this place come into the fullness of its divine supernatural destiny in Yeshua's mighty name. My air shofar from Yerushalayim. God bless you, and so much love from the city of God.